So, welcome to another episode of Trash Talk Podcast. It's a Saturday, we're doing a podcast. What's up, JJ? How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Are you hyped? So am I.
Well,
Great
yes.
stuff. So, what are we doing? Got a bunch of interesting discussions for you today. With an interesting quiz, too. Halftime show is great today, I promise you that.
So, some of you might not have been watching every episode of the podcast, and while you definitely should, this is arguably the most important one.
If you get 30 days of time uninterrupted with nothing else to do, go back and do that.
So, it's not even that much, but we are discussing the meaning of life.
Does life have a meaning?
No.
Halftime show? Let's get into it. No, I'm just kidding. So, what we wrote down for this one was actually just the number 42.
Of course we did.
Because that's the standard answer when we're talking about, what's the meaning of life?
Of course. It's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference. Great books. Go read them. Listen to the audio dramas. Watch the movie. Watch the TV show.
Read them and listen to the audiobook. I mean...
It's an audio drama. It originally was an audio drama. The difference between an audiobook and an audio drama is that an audiobook is read by a single person and an audio drama is read by a full cast.
Yeah, that's true. I know what you're talking about. But...
So, that could have been a fact of the week, but you got that for free.
I actually did read the...
Not that you're paying for the fact
of the week. Yeah, about to say. I actually did read the actual book. One of the few books that I actually read voluntarily, and now I'm into audiobooks. Which we already know. But the meaning of life, not necessarily in the most literal sense, but we're talking about what to do with life, basically, right?
And that seems fair, because
yeah.
I still believe that I don't think it's a secret I'm not a religious person.
Yeah. No.
So, if you're not a religious person, how should there be any kind of meaning to life?
You create it for yourself.
The only meaning I can assert to life is to, selectively choose a partner to procreate with, and
which is the meaning of evolution,
advance humans, because that's the only reason I could see for life is to evolve, because that's the only thing life really does.
That's the overall idea, right?
Survive, procreate, and further evolution somehow.
But I'm not anything I say, I don't want to sound spiritual or some type of we special or anything like that as people, but as humans we have evolved a consciousness that's unmatched on this planet. We have evolved a self-awareness that is unmatched.
Yeah, that seems
on
fair.
This planet. So we can assert...
we know that some apes are very self-aware, but they definitely lack communication and other things. Yeah,
the type of deep thought and an actual analysis of situation, that's unique to the human race.
Not to go too far off the topic, but have you heard of Coco?
Coco?
The, I think it was a gorilla they taught sign language.
Right. And
were communicating with. It didn't necessarily sound too fluent, but was
she actually communicating thoughts or just imitating stuff?
No, she was actually communicating thoughts. But
probably she had certain signs connected to certain demands, right? Food is a certain sign of hand.
Yeah, of course, but there was also more abstract concepts being communicated.
But she's not gonna be able to question existence. Or, an animal would never ponder the meaning of life as we're doing right now.
Well, I mean, early humans didn't.
Because that later evolved.
But I'm just saying there are animals that are somewhat intelligent. Maybe not quite on our level, but...
No, of course not.
But yeah.
Not on Earth. But we do it because we can afford to do it, because we're some dumbasses in a house.
Yeah, I was about to say, concrete buildings that... should be a thing with any other race.
And a refrigerator next door. So that's the thing. I think, when you ask about the meaning of life, it's always it's what you make of it. You can set your own meaning for your life.
I feel like there's a...
Because it's your life. You give it meaning, right?
I feel like there's a difference between meaning and goal. But...
Well, goal is... a tough word to define sometimes. I think a goal is a situation where you want to end up, and it has, if it's technically a goal, it has a bunch of qualifications. It has to be immediate and not vague, or I don't even know exactly how it's defined.
Okay, but I mean, meaning.
You can have multiple goals that follow the same. Let's call it a mission then.
Okay, fair enough.
Because in the enterprise, in a corporation, a company, they call it the mission. That's like the biggest thing. That's like the top tier, the mission of the entire company.
Fair, because when I hear meaning, and I know that's why I initially also said no. Yeah. What I think is like, why? Like, why do we exist? Yeah.
Is there
like, what is our purpose?
Is there a higher purpose for there being existence? No.
The answer very clearly, like 95% sure, it has to be no.
Yeah, no. I don't see it. So it's about what do we do? What's the point of living? Like, what are you supposed to do with it? That's what I'm asking here. And I think like that's a question that you can ponder for yourself for your entire life.
Yeah, and
that's what philosophers have done for years, like millennia, and haven't figured it out.
And I guess if you're asking what you want to do with your life, I think a very simple answer would just be try to get the most out of it.
The most what?
Well, I mean, basically anything positive, right?
Right. You could be...
Most positive things are better if there's more of them. Not generally always true. I mean, Paracelsus is a thing. He said some stuff about things being too much sometimes.
Yeah.
But, like, generally, like, you know, happiness, enjoyment, like, derive pleasure as much as possible, like basically like everything positive, of course.
Okay. So you're talking about like that's the moral onset, right? The most the maximum possible increase in well-being, the most possible reduction of suffering.
Well, yeah. When I said that, I meant that more on a personal level.
Yeah, of course. I know what. Yeah. I'm not yet taking shots at you. I'm not yet questioning you personally. I'm just reiterating positions.
Okay, fair enough.
So that is a thing. Yeah, that is a very moral approach. Should mention there, and I think a lot of people would agree to that, or at least conform to that in a sense, and pay lip service, for lack of a better word, to it, without really engaging in that. Because I feel like a lot of people are...
I'm by no means a hedonist. Like I don't just go around and doing whatever I feel like because...
Oh, yeah, sure. You're not.
That makes me feel better.
You're not. But you're also not, like, in the... like, you're not the absolute, like... I'm working all day.
No.
Like, I'm putting it in.
No.
Because I don't know why people don't do that. Because this is a really interesting concept to me. I have no understanding of why people wouldn't work their asses off whenever they could. Like... to their best of their abilities at any given time.
I think we're starting to get into a different debate that we're having, and we had a lot before.
Well, yeah, that is the debate, though, right?
Is it the work versus enjoyment debate?
Yeah. What do you do with your life?
What do I do with my life?
Is it just the idea of like more short term, like happiness versus more long term focused happiness?
Well, I mean, optimally both. Of course, sometimes those go counter each other.
They do counter each other.
And that's where we try to find a balance. And
okay.
I feel like the thing about the long-term happiness, definitely overall, depending on how long the long-term is, better than the short-term of course, the long-term, obviously. Yeah. But there's a few factors here, like, you don't know when you're going to get hit by a car and just die randomly.
No, you don't.
That's like... working your ass off and then you just die.
But you think it's a good philosophy to just like, oh, I could die tomorrow? That's like, there's a saying that live every day as if it were your last.
Yeah, because it just might be.
But that's not a good saying though, right?
Of course not. Because the actual saying, of course, if I knew for a fact it was my last day, I wouldn't be living it like I am now. But I feel like you gotta, that's why I said balance, right? Like, make sure that you're having fun, but also make sure that your future isn't going to be shit.
So, but are you doing that to the best degree possible?
Balancing that to my best
No, making sure your future ain't going to be shit. Like, making sure your future ain't going to be just not shit, but not just like anybody else's future, but like extraordinary.
Okay, so am I looking at my future to the best of my ability? No, but that's what I said about balancing the now and the then. Then it works.
But then, okay, if you're gonna do that, then you'll end up with likely less in the future.
Yes.
Which is, of course, all that we can work. We can work for the past. We can only work for the future.
Yeah, so I feel like what you have to look at here is actually somewhat similar to gambling, weirdly enough, where you have to weigh like the risk-reward type thing.
Where is there a risk in this? You're gonna die either way, no matter how. You're gonna die.
Yeah, but okay. Maybe that was not a good analogy, but whenever you're like saying like, oh, just work hard, don't care about your enjoyment now, care about the future, right?
Absolutely.
That's
my point of view about it. That's my philosophy.
Taking away potential enjoyment in the now.
Yeah.
In hopes of getting more of it in the future.
Expectation. Or hope. Yeah.
You can't guarantee.
I do very much expect myself to do well in the future.
But first of all, you don't know how long it's gonna take to get there. You don't know how long the period of time is that you're gonna be there.
Yeah.
And you don't know if at all you're gonna get there.
I know for a fact that I will be in a better place in a year than someone else who's in the same place as I am now, but doesn't approach it the same way.
You're gonna be the same place you are now in a year.
That's not true.
You're not gonna be done with your bachelor's degree in a year.
In a year from now, I'll be in a much better place. In my life, like progressing in my life, of that stage of my life, that's a full year of experience of learning, of developing.
Yeah, of course. In that regard,
of course,
most people are going to be better off in a year than they're now.
No. Not as good as they could be.
Of course, not necessarily as good as they could be in a year, but still better than now.
If I'm just sitting down and watching a brainless episode of Game of Thrones, instead of, I don't know, educating myself about how the stock market works, then tomorrow I'm in a worse place than I could have been.
Yes.
And that's bad. That is what is to be avoided. Like, you can set the intervals that you want to look at as small as possible. If you want to just go tomorrow, what can I do now so that tomorrow I will be in the best possible place that I can be?
But you have to make a distinction between. You said that most people aren't going to be better off in a year, which is just blatantly false. Most people aren't going to be off as well as they could be in a year.
That's what I was saying.
But that's not the question was posed. You answered a different question than was asked.
What was the question?
You said, I said most people are going to be better off in a year than they're now. And you said no.
I'm not sure. That's tough to evaluate.
And then you explained how they're not going to be as well off as they could be, which is different from being better off than they are now.
That's tough. Are they better off in the value than now?
Your argument for being better off, for you personally being better off in a year than you're now, is gaining knowledge.
Yeah.
While effectively being in the same place in your life. So that means that your standard for being better off is just knowledge and skills acquired. And
in this stage of my life,
I'm not passively acquire skills and knowledge in your life. Maybe not as much as you could, but you will.
I'm not expecting to sit at Wall Street at age 20. And I'm not expecting to do by 25. I know what, between the ages of 20 to 25, or 15 to 25, there's different things to do than between the ages of 25 to 40. When you're 18, you are not trying to... When you're 18, you're not trying to make money right then and there and become a millionaire on the spot. You're trying to set yourself up in a position where you can do that 10 years down the road. So right now, no, I'm not expecting to be rich anytime soon, within the next 5-10 years, or have whatever I want and accomplish, literally accomplish the long-term stuff, because that's why it's the long-term stuff.
Yeah, but that's what I said, right? You said that acquiring knowledge and skills is progress, thereby, by doing so, you're better off than you were before. It
is progress right now, yeah.
And I'm saying that most people will have done so, thereby being better off than they were before.
Maybe. But then again, they might also have missed on opportunities, which is the factor that can't really be going over into mathematics, right?
Yeah, of course, but just because you missed an opportunity, again, that makes you be worse off than you could have been, but it doesn't make you be worse off than you were.
Okay, let's look at this, okay? So, if you were to, it's pretty late at night already, okay? It's not midnight, but it's late evening.
Yeah.
So, if you were to spend the entire day tomorrow sitting here on this couch and drinking 5 beers and watching television.
I don't like beer that much.
But it's such as he would. Maybe whiskey or whatever you like. So, do you think then on Monday... Is it Monday? Would it be Monday? No, it'll be Sunday, the day after that. On that Sunday, that you'll be better off than you are before you're going to bed today, or waking up tomorrow, or worse.
I might be off worse because I might have a hangover.
Yeah, you're off worse in the long term too, because you now just missed a day. A day where you could have and should have gotten better, but instead, all you did was harm your body and psyche.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. That's the negative effect of the alcohol, but...
Yeah, also the television.
But, okay, but, like...
And the sedentary lifestyle in general.
If just by doing nothing to progress means that your chances overall might be worse, but missed opportunities don't make your current situation worse. They, if anything, just make it equal to your previous situation.
Well, you can make a situation worse. How many people will literally do nothing? As in, like, nothing harmful and nothing positive.
I mean, I would assume no one.
Exactly. So, and I would assume that more people will do more harmful than positive.
I don't think so.
On a day-to-day basis?
I don't think so. Well, I don't know. Then again...
How many, like...
anyone who's a physical laborer, I guess, is technically harming their body, so...
Imagine that's not even what I'm talking about. Imagine the average college person.
Okay, fair enough.
How many days of the week do they actively improve, as in gaining knowledge, as opposed to wasting a day and actually making their situation worse by sitting around just in front of the computer or consuming, like, substance of abuse or whatever?
Yeah... Okay, fair enough. A lot of people party a lot and then don't go to college a lot. But then again, I'm not sure if that's true. A lot of people graduate, which means that they must have learned something in the process of doing so. And if they graduate in a somewhat reasonable amount of time, you would assume that the negative stuff that they've done would have been kept to a certain limit, because otherwise they would not have gotten there. That's not to say that everyone does achieve their degrees in a reasonable time, because I simply don't know.
Is a graduation degree worth 4 years of alcohol consumption and sitting on your ass and eating pizza and watching television? Is that worth it?
Well, the degree itself...
I don't think it is.
Is not. But maybe the implications it brings also... doesn't necessarily have to take 4 years.
Good one for that, I'm sure. I wouldn't do that for 4 years to get a degree. Like, I wouldn't trade that in. Because that 4 years, I could do better. Even without a degree, I can do better for myself than that. Right? So just because you have a degree, just because you might now get a decent, like a good job as opposed to a decent job, is that really good enough?
Well, but, okay, you're looking at the degree as a piece of paper that gets you into places, which it is.
Having the degree, having the qualification, having the possibility of the jobs that you now have. But, all of it.
I mean, there comes knowledge base and skill with that as well.
Yeah, all of that. Is that worth the 4 years of essentially wasted most of the time that you had?
Well, I can't say if it's necessarily worth it, but you're still better off with the degree than without, thereby having overall improved your situation.
That's why I disagree. Because the 4 years that you have spent, I think you've overall worsened your situation. Because how much time have you actually taken off your life in general, and how much good time have you taken off your life that'll come up in the end of your life by misbehaving like that?
Okay, I'm not nearly qualified enough to talk about the medical implications of the typical college student life.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not sure if that necessarily proves any points here.
Okay, maybe we need to get off the discussion of, is someone better off the next day than they were before, or is it like an absolute number speaking worse? That's not even the point that I'm trying to make at all. I'm saying, are you off as good as you could have been?
Okay, then you should have worded it that way from the get-go.
Well, yeah, that's what I was trying to say in the beginning. But you wanted me to answer this question, and that's how we got into this debate. That's what it is really about.
Again, if you're wording something one way, you can't just answer it another. Okay, most people will not end up at the optimal stage naturally.
That's correct. So, is that acceptable to you for yourself?
Of course.
Why?
As a matter of fact, I would argue that no one gets to the best possible stage it could have been gone
but then if they can't get it though, you can argue that it wasn't the best possible stage. If you can, like, by the end of your life, you can confidently say
because saying it's not possible. Yeah, fair enough.
Exactly. So the one that the best possible stage that they can reach in their life. So if you were to get to that, okay, can you, at the end of your life, will you confidently say that you have done the best you could have possibly done?
Probably not.
See that? And you're not worried about that?
No.
That will be the worst thought I could possibly imagine.
I'm pretty sure the thought wouldn't even cross my mind. Like, if someone asked me, sure, but like,
that will be so. How does that not bother you? I don't get that.
Because you don't necessarily want to think about the opportunities that you've missed. You were thinking about the things that you did do, right?
But then don't miss them if you don't have to miss them. Like if I were to have to look back at some point and be like, I did worse than I could have reasonably done, and it was in my hands, that's a fair life. That's a failed life.
Okay, fair enough. Then you failed already.
Why?
You did significantly worse than you could have.
Reasonably?
Yeah.
And what?
Okay, the biggest one probably is that you started college literally half a year late. For no reason.
I wasn't 18 yet.
That's not a reason. That's an excuse. That's not a reason.
So? No, I wasn't 18 yet. I literally couldn't sign up for it by myself.
Yeah, exactly, by yourself, yeah, but your parents could have signed the thing and it would have been fine.
That is almost unreasonable. I would argue that's not reasonable.
How is that unreasonable?
Because I need them for every piece of paperwork. Everything.
Yeah, that's like one thing to sign up and that's it.
That is a level of inconvenience that's not reasonable.
How is getting one signature from one of your parents unreasonable?
That is not one signature. I'm talking about everything.
That's literally the one thing I had to sign to get into college was just the registration. That's everything.
That's everything for you?
Yeah.
I'm not buying
what else did you have to sign?
Loans? Like financial stuff?
Okay, fair.
You're not doing that.
Fair enough, I didn't do that. But
you're right, of course.
First of all, you don't have to do that. Second of all, okay, that's the second signature.
Fair enough. Okay, technically there could be more stuff because housing would be a thing if we weren't living at home still.
Which you are, so that's not a valid excuse.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think there is such a thing as a valid excuse.
That's not a valid reason.
That's better. It's not. It's also not a reason that I brought up. But okay, here's the thing. So if I'm sitting there at 70 years old, and I'm looking like, okay, I could have done better. Like that, what I did did not meet my potential. And and you can estimate your own potential. I believe everyone can somewhat guess their own potential to a degree. And I think a lot of people would agree that they don't reach their potential. Isn't that the worst thing ever? Like, isn't that the worst thing you can really imagine?
No. Doesn't bother me.
What's the worst thing you could possibly imagine? Falling over dead on the spot.
Yeah, I was about to say, dying way too soon, and probably also painfully and slowly. And
then think about, like, okay, falling... Okay, we've had that exact same example before, but falling over dead on the spot right now, as opposed to living the rest of your life knowing that it won't be anything special ever.
I'd live the rest of my life knowing that it wouldn't be anything special.
I still don't get that point. I still don't understand that position. I just cannot emphasize with that position.
Well, I mean, I can't see your position either, so I guess that's fair.
I wonder why that's a fact, because I believe that other people.
I love how I can hear in your voice that you're frustrated.
it's tough to understand that, because like, okay, how do people look at this? Like, what do you think most people would answer to that?
I'm pretty sure most people would agree with me because most people don't want to die. As a matter of fact, some people are really afraid of dying for some reason. But that's a whole different story.
Well, yeah, that's another argument. Like, are you... No, let's not get into that. Do you think most people would agree with you?
Yeah.
That's hard to fathom. Like, I don't see how that's logical. I don't see how that makes sense. How is that a better thing to do?
You're literally getting more out of your life.
There is things that are worse than dying. Can we agree on that?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay, so, and being an average Joe forever is one of those things.
And that's where I would disagree.
And that's what I don't understand. How is that? Like, the way that I always explain it to myself is like the only way a person would disagree with that is if they haven't really thought it through. If they haven't really like understood the whole concept. Like what really is life? What does it mean to be just an average dude?
If you asked me if I would rather die right now or live an eternal life of suffering, of course I'd die right now.
Degree of suffering also matters. Like, just suffering, but, like, a little headache here and there, like, have migraines?
Well, I mean, that's more of a mild inconvenience rather than suffering.
Are we talking...
I feel like suffering is a pretty strong word in its own right, where it is assumed that you understand what...
Like, horrible mental disease for the rest of your life?
It's something like that, right? Like,
okay, so in that case, if I always ask that question, it depends on one thing. Does the form of suffering prevent me from reaching the potential that completely prevent me from reaching that potential? Like, is it like a form of suffering that like completely incapacitates me? So in that case, yeah, I probably want to die, but just like have physical pain. But other than that, I have still the potential to do special things. I'll live. As opposed to you could guarantee like for the rest of my life, physical health, mental health. Just tell me that you're always gonna be an average person, and you're not gonna do anything special ever. There's no history, no legacy about you, no suffering or just that. I'll die on the spot. Every time.
That can still be a happy and fulfilled life.
I don't see it. How is a life fulfilled if you're just like everyone else? How is that? That's not possible.
Isn't that literally the American dream?
No.
White picket fence, suburban area, 2 kids.
No, that's not the American dream. No. Technically, originally, the American dream was freedom.
Fair enough.
Religious freedom, and independence and all that sort of thing. But it's definitely about individualism. That's what the real American dream is. It's do you. That's really what that is. That's the complete opposite of that. And I tend to agree with that for the most part. Of course, there's certain regularities like nonviolence and all that. We don't even get into that. But I've stated this exact same phrase before, I believe. Being the average guy for the rest of my life and knowing so that it will be that way is the worst dystopia that I can imagine.
I think you said that before.
It's the worst form of torture I can imagine for myself. That's I don't want to sound foolish here, but that's the worst. That's the worst type of mental terror that I could imagine to experience. Like knowing your life holds essentially no merit. Like you're knowing that you are nothing and you'll never be anything. And your life is all you ever have, and all you ever have will never be anything.
Well, I mean,
that is awful. That's awful.
There's a difference between not doing anything of importance and never having been anything. Like in
the grand scheme of things, anything.
You're almost suggesting non-existence, which is a completely different thing.
Essentially, it is. I mean, it's not the same thing, of course, but essentially the outcome is the same. 300 years from now.
Why do I care about 300 years from now unless they invented immortality till then? I do not care.
Doesn't matter 300 years from now whether you lived or not. And if it doesn't matter that you've lived, that's a fair life.
What do I care about 300 years in the future? I won't be alive to see that, probably.
But there might be people around who remember you. And if they don't, it's fair life. That's all. I mean, how is that not all you work for in life, your entire life?
I literally couldn't care less.
I couldn't care more. That's one of those again. I don't get it. I don't get that philosophy. Like, how's being just a dude forever and ever for your entire life and then dying, and 50 years later no one ever calls up your name ever again? How is that not the most depressing thought ever? Like, in the history of thoughts ever.
Seems pretty chill.
No, that's torture. That is horrible. I don't get it. Like, what? Okay,
weird question. Not necessarily related, maybe related, I don't know. Would you rather be remembered like Hitler or not at all? Like the worst person ever, literally, which, bit of an overstatement, but...
would I just be remembered like that, or having done the...
I thought you were all about legacy. Does it matter then?
Well, do I still have to do the things? Would I rather be Hitler right now than being a regular dude from 1940 right now? Both are dead. Would I rather have been that guy or... See, that's hard to imagine, right?
But you're constantly talking about like legacy, and so it wouldn't matter from that point of view.
I wouldn't want to do the Hitler thing, but if I could choose to either... Okay, you die right now, but you were Hitler once when Hitler was Hitler, and that back then it was you. You know what I'm saying?
Don't make this mind-bending for no reason. Yeah. Bad legacy or no legacy?
Bad legacy. Bad legacy. Absolutely. How is that a question? There is no legacy that can be possibly worse than no legacy. There isn't. I don't want to do Hitler stuff. I don't agree with the stuff that Hitler did. And I don't want stuff like that to ever happen again. And if you were like, okay, you could transform your brain into a 12-year-old Hitler and do the whole thing. Just go along for the ride. I don't want to do that as opposed to where I am right now. But if you're telling me, okay, you can transfer yourself into Hitler's brain literally the second it shut down after he shot himself in the head, I'll do it.
It didn't have to necessarily literally be Hitler for that to work. But
yeah, but anyway. Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I personally, of course, don't care about legacy that much, so it still feels... The idea of being remembered as an evil person still feels a bit odd, but of course it wouldn't matter because
remembered. That's the whole...
Because of that point I'm dead, but like, it doesn't matter really.
You are being remembered.
Rather not be remembered though.
I don't get it. Do you have any other questions to like clarify that better? Because I will admit so. That was complicated, but I still like we have so many discussions where we eventually get to a point.
Yeah.
We have like this seems to just be one where we cannot get to a point.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why, because there's not supposed to be an impasse like that in any discussion.
Well, sometimes there is no common ground. That's just how that is.
But what we're talking about is existence here, right?
Yeah.
So,
yes, we both exist. Yeah, that's a fact.
In a way that
something exists because we're thinking of something.
Yeah. Something that is thinking exists.
Yeah.
I can't claim that I can call it me, but something thinking exists. I studied that shit. I did, and it's...
I know you did.
Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure I know all of the most interesting stuff about that because you and Joe constantly tell me about it.
Oh yeah. That's a doozy, that one, yeah. Philosophy is wonderful, but sometimes it's the worst.
Also, God exists for some reason because otherwise the church will kill me or something like that. Wasn't it?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think he retracted that later and he's like, oh yeah, and God. Like, it's like all of this, like 300 pages, and God. Because otherwise, I'm headed for the guillotine. Because I'm a French person in the 1600s, and I'm not having that, or something along those lines. I don't know. No, I don't know. Like, I like this discussion. I like discussing that because the idea is always that at some point we'll get to that common ground. But I know that I can't retreat from my position because it's the correct position. So, but then I also don't know what to do about you, right? Because I think you think the same way, right?
Well, I don't claim to have any objective correctness in my opinion, but it's just you're asking me how I feel about things.
Exactly.
And that's not gonna change based on a logical argument. Generally.
Yeah. That is generally, unfortunately, the case, yeah. For a lot of people. Because if it weren't, then the world will be in a much better place.
That's always a problem when you attach emotion to entirely moral conflicts, for example. And then people don't want to back down from their position because they've been indoctrinated into their other position,
sure.
and they feel offended when you're having opposing opinions,
but you don't feel offended,
even if they're factually wrong.
But you don't feel offended by me, stating
no.
Okay, so I know you don't perceive it that way.
No, but I'm saying that's generally what you said with most people. That's a problem.
Okay, you know what? Let's continue having this discussion off the air because I know we will.
Yeah.
But we'll do the halftime show now because this is too meta right now. Yeah. This is not going anywhere right now immediately, so we'll do the halftime show. What do we got?
Let's go a bit more,
on the light side,
high-spirited, and,
Let's do it. So what's the deal?
Well, I believe the topic was called Runrig versus Broccoli.
Oh yeah, Runrig versus Broccoli, teased in the previous podcast. The idea is that we're asking each other questions in a quiz format, and we're discussing which one of those two options we would, of course, prefer. And what we talked about just there, like fall or dead on the spot versus living a life knowing that you'll never have a legacy, could easily be one of those.
Yes,
and we already know that we would split on that.
Most of those are a bit more
trivial.
The two parts of the verse are a bit more distinct from each other.
Yeah, that's supposed to be. So it's not going to be hot dogs versus pizza. It's two different. It's supposed to be somewhat two different.
And
categories.
4 to 5 of the ones that I wrote down are very much custom tailored to you.
Okay, that is good. I like things that are custom tailored to me. Would you like to start?
Talking about custom tailoring.
Custom tailoring.
Sleeveless shirts. Would you rather give those up?
Uh-huh.
Or the Beatles?
Oh, God. You see, he right away went into music and something else.
And tailoring.
Yeah, so sleeveless shirts are a big thing for me.
I know.
I prefer them over t-shirts a lot. It's a lot more comfortable.
For me, it's the other way around. I'm pretty sure it's one of those things that we're also never going to agree on, but it doesn't matter.
But there's just physiological reasons for that. Like, most t-shirts hurt me in the arms because they're a bit tight in the arms. So, like, you know how there's, like, the seam all the way around at the outermost layer of a t-shirt? Like, with the sleeve? Like, usually there is one. No, like, all the way down.
Oh.
That, yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's looking at that. So that.
I don't pay too much attention to that, but
that's just in for most t-shirts that aren't way too big for my torso, painfully tight for my arms, and I don't like it. So I cut the sleeves of all my t-shirts. I do have a handful of t-shirts that are just really broadly cut, like the Baron Corbin wrestling t-shirt.
Yeah,
I can wear it comfortably. That's cool. I have a bunch of black. I don't even want to say the word, but I'm going to say it anyway. Dress t-shirts. Fashion gods, please don't smite me. Dress up t-shirts like that I will wear to a better occasion than sitting here with you, basically, right?
Yes.
Which is just a plain black t-shirt.
Which is pretty much anything that you ever do ever because you don't like me that much.
Not even true.
That was
not even true.
I'm joking.
I'll wear the same type of things to college. I'll go to college like that. I'll put on shoes and I'll go to college.
You'll go to concerts like that.
I'll go to concerts like that. I mean concerts. If I'm gonna go to I will show up to my own wedding without wearing just a sleeveless shirt. I promise. But no, some just regular black t-shirts. So that are a good regular fit, right? And I'll put those on if I have to. It's not comfortable at all. I don't like it. So the question was, of course, against the Beatles, and I have the history of me and the Beatles goes way back. This is extremely tough to call. I'm trying to figure out a way to weasel myself around this somehow.
Now, of course, those are just going to get removed from your personal life. We're not completely removing the entire music history that the Beatles
I've never discovered them
because yikes.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say I'll go without the shirts as you said it. I'll just leave 1/1000th of an inch on the sleeve when I cut it off. Is that fair? Is that valid?
That sounds like cheating.
I know, but you said sleeveless, right? So do I
guess on a technicality that's valid.
Okay, so if it's valid, I'll go with that. Otherwise, I'd have to think about that to a greater extent than I could answer in this video. And I don't want to be the person holding this up because I take those questions very seriously when I give answers to that. So here's another one: Bon Jovi versus fast food. By fast food, I mean everything that you can pick up on the go. Fast food, that means no more pizza ever, no more hot dogs, no more burgers, no more any fast food chain, right? Okay. It also means no more like ice cream around the corner. It means like none of that. All the food that you can eat has to be like prepared closely to you, or like you have to prepare it yourself. If your mom cooks it, that's cool. For them, that's cool. I'm not sure how about the chow hole in college.
Well, I mean, without that, I would have kind of a problem because either it's
you have to cook it and bring it.
For college food, it's either that or McDonald's.
Yeah. No, let's go with this. So, any food that you or a close relative to you hasn't prepared for you.
So no restaurants or nothing?
No restaurants, no chow hall, which is typically just a prison term, but I'm saying it for college as well because that's how I feel there. Nothing. You need to bring your own stuff. Meal prepping, everything. Which is how a lot of people live.
God, I mean...
Supermarkets are cool. You can buy stuff from supermarkets and prep it for yourself. That's alright.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? Bon Jovi, hands down, favorite musical artist.
Yeah, huge fan.
Just the thing. So, food. Also a thing that I really like.
Yeah, I love food. Wouldn't care to go a week without it. Great.
So that brings up the problem, right? You can learn to cook. That's not too hard.
No, that's okay. That's possible.
So the you know what?
What?
I'm gonna keep Bon Jovi.
You keep Bon Jovi and do the food prep?
Yeah.
Alright.
That would be a good excuse to learn to cook finally.
Yeah, that's a major inconvenience, but that's a good excuse. Like the idea is, of course, to have your mom cook for you as long as possible. As long as humanly possible. And once you decide she's no longer doing that, you go ahead and get married. ASAP.
Nah, we'll just learn to cook.
Yeah. Okay, that's also fair. I mean,
flip some eggs, you know.
Yeah, flip some eggs.
You said you didn't want to go without eating.
Not a week. Not too long. I really don't want to.
Here's the thing.
Would you rather go without eating or do this?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Okay, so without eating, but of course, you're not just gonna die from it because otherwise it's just like, oh, I'm starving after a few days, it's done. Like, it's like your body doesn't need to eat anymore, but you also can't.
All right, but I can have like I can still build muscle and can I regulate like my body constitution and weight and all that somehow?
I would say you're always basically in the shape as if you were like eating healthily for whatever is appropriate for you, I guess.
Okay.
But basically you can't, it's more about like losing the potential to just like, you know, have a chocolate bar here, have some broccoli there, whatever you feeling like right now, like
broccoli. Yeah.
Basically you're getting rid of the entire taste thing. Of the versus the ability to play football.
Okay, the ability?
Well, I'm not saying you're suddenly getting disabled or anything. It's just like you just for some whatever
you
can't do it anymore. I mean, it's just as like you can't listen to Bon Jovi. I was like, that seems weird.
The thing is that this is a short versus long term question because you don't typically play football for much longer than like into your 30s, and after that, which is hopefully only halfway through my life, then it's the thing that I might want to do something else after that, which forces me to regulate or be able to regulate my weight better, or like the shape of my body, right? So I might not want to be as buff and big anymore. I might want to slim down, or I might want to become a bodybuilder and have like seasonal switches where I need to lose and gain 50 pounds within a year. So all of that, of course, I can't do anymore. Right now, if there's no nutritional like disadvantage, I'll just give up the eating. That actually seems more convenient. Because you all have the nutrition anyway, and you need to care for it. You don't need to buy anything, you don't need to spend money on it, and you don't need to waste any time preparing it. Yeah, I don't need to go to the chow hall, which is really just a prison term, but I like to use it for college.
You said that like 2 seconds ago.
That's how I feel when I'm there. I don't need to wake up 27 seconds earlier to have breakfast. I don't need to prepare a dinner, which takes 3 minutes or something like that. So then I'll take that for sure. Yeah, that's the answer. I mean, that's just the answer. After that, I don't know. If I'm thinking long term, I'll probably, because I know it's healthier. It would be a better choice to give up football anyway, either way. But long term, I might have to do that. But short term, I'll just give up the eating. That's better financially, and
I didn't even think of the financial implications there. I was just like, yeah, it's like you're saving some time, but you don't get the experience of eating.
I won't give up football just for taste pleasure. Like, for being able to taste stuff. I can still, like, I think I can still consume liquids.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, fluids, and I can also vape.
Yeah.
And chew gum if I need to, so that's all fair enough. Okay. This one is just called having a car versus brushing your teeth. And I think you know what I'm saying here. No car or no teeth brushing.
Okay.
Major pro, if you decide for the car, you don't need to have a toothbrush being ridiculously displayed in your bedroom. Which is a fact. I can see it from here. It's right there. It's sitting there. In the corner. On the shelf. It's there.
So
he sleeps in here.
Point is, I'm trying to get out of this one on the technicality as well. I could just get a motorcycle? That's a thing.
Yes. Okay, you know what? I'll give you a motorcycle.
That of course
anything
is a bit weather reliant more than anything else, but
nothing more convenient than that. Or let's do it like twofold. First that, and then also you're not allowed to own any motorized vehicle for your own transportation. Because
the thing is, like, when I don't brush my teeth, I feel disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not a good
thing.
I wonder if you could, like, compensate for that by just, like, chewing a lot of minty gum or something, and just
or just using mouthwash.
Feel disgusting anymore, like, use mouthwash.
You can also just have all of your teeth replaced with dentures, artificial dentures, and then you just take them out at night and drop them into some like cleaning solution.
That seems like it would be a disadvantageous situation, but yeah.
That might happen to you anyway in 50 years.
I mean, like, I'm not sure how much that genetics based, but like in my family right now, like, teeth are pretty well.
Yeah.
Like I know my grandma still has all of her teeth.
No, that's pretty.
The originals.
The originals.
She always has like great anecdotes from when she was at the doctor's, and like they were just like, oh, you can take your teeth out now. And she's like, no, I really can't.
All right.
Great. Anyways, so I guess there's probably more ways to go around the toothbrushing than having to worry about public transport or getting really good at cycling.
Running at 50 miles an hour.
That's just not practical.
Yeah. So you're giving up brushing teeth?
I guess.
Okay. Fair enough. Disgusting.
Here's an interesting one.
Alright.
And those are also two unrelated things in a way. But there's also one very common trait about them. Mm-hmm. And that is Meatloaf, the food versus Meatloaf the man.
Of course it is. Of course it is. I'm gonna give Meatloaf the food because it's one very specific food. I could just literally take the same thing and form it into patties. Like, it's the same.
And then call it a burger, yeah.
And call it a burger. And it's the same food. Like, easy one there, even though Meatloaf the Man is... I mean, I like him.
Yeah, but I was about to say that's the thing where it's like...
I'd rather know the music than not, dude. And the other one doesn't seem to be disadvantaged at all.
But for me, the thing was like, yeah, like, how often do I eat meatloaf? Not a lot. How often do I listen to meatloaf? Not a lot. It's like, both of those are just minor things.
I can take the meatloaf, the food, and then slice it into bits, right? And it's no longer a loaf. So that's all I need to do to circumvent that. And it's literally next to none additional effort. So that's cool. Yeah, I'll give up meatloaf the food for that. Great technicality there. Another one. All right. Oh, this is.
I feel like this game is just turned in from what would you rather give up into which one can you get easier out of the technicality.
Exactly. So this one is this was a bit interesting. So would you rather wear only at any given time a maximum of 2 pieces of clothing, or never play video games again?
Never play video games again. Done.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. I thought you might have found like a better way to get around the other one.
First of all, I don't actually play video games that much.
Okay.
I mean, I do definitely.
That means also this channel is done for, or needs to do something else, right?
No, not necessarily. I mean,
needs to do something else.
I mean, I play channels on. Oh yeah. If you're saying if I don't play video games anymore, we can't do the channel. Well, no, we could.
We could do something else.
We could literally just switch seats.
No.
Then you would be playing and I would be.
That's not happening. No, you need to.
It's doable.
I don't think that's
just you being inflexible.
Yeah.
No, but like
I thought you might work yourself around the other one.
I mean,
like the biggest.
At that point, you're basically either you're wearing a dress and shoes or something, or you're just wearing like pants and a t-shirt or something.
The basic ideas at this point is always like, if it was 3 pieces of clothing, I think I'd be cool with it, because you got shoes, you got pants, and you got a shirt. And otherwise, you need to always.
Which one to drop? The answer is shoes.
Probably shoes, yeah. Shirt, depending on where you are. But the thing is, like, in a place where you can go shirtless, you can typically also go shoeless.
Yes. No, but actually, the prime reason probably why I didn't pick the clothes is I'm almost always wearing an undershirt.
Yeah. Because
when I'm not, I'm really easily getting like that. There's just like wind going on my back, and I'll have back troubles the next morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
That's it. I don't have a good back, and like that's generally like no.
All right.
And if I'm wearing an undershirt and a shirt,
that
doesn't leave me with anything else.
Yeah. No pants, no shoes, nothing. So that's a problem.
And again, it could technically be wearing a dress, but then
you could just pick the clothing option and just own it completely, and just go with a hat and a cane. And that's it.
Does a cane really come with clothing?
Not even sure. I don't know. A hat and a wristband.
Okay. I just found my way around the clothing thing.
Like a onesie?
Yeah, just sew everything together into one piece of clothing.
That's what I was thinking in the beginning, right? There's even just like just pants with like attached shoes to it.
You could literally attach. You could literally go with a single piece of clothing and just attach everything together and have like some zippers and you get out of it.
Yeah, make a suit out of it.
It's somewhat impractical. When you have to go to the toilet, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And even that you can circumvent by extra zippers.
Extra zipper, yeah. All right.
There you go.
That's a cool
I guess that works.
That's a good one. Fair enough. I'll take it.
Just the only piece of clothing.
Next question.
Okay, next question. Right. Okay.
What though if you had to... You're not allowed to do it by yourself. You need to find someone to manufacture that for you. Or custom make it for you.
That's doable.
You still do it? Okay.
That's doable. Okay. This time, you can lose a part of your memory of one of 2 specific things. And the reason why you would want to lose them are very different.
Alright.
So that's how this is not the same thing. You can either forget the Borderlands playthrough.
Okay.
So you don't have to live with the memories of that because apparently you didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or the memories of the Life is Strange series.
Okay.
With the ability to then replay them again.
Yeah.
And it'd be like the first time.
Yeah, Borderlands can fuck straight off. I'm glad I know Life is Strange.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could.
No, I'm glad I already know it because then like it would be more work to catch up on it again, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
I know I get the idea of experiencing it for the first time, which is of course better than the second time. But I mean, I'll be happy enough if I can play it again and like the whole story. I
had a different rationale for the choice, but fair enough.
I like just knowing the stuff and then getting deeper and deeper into it, right? I also wouldn't want to play my first football game again because I spent 4 years working towards being at the level that I am right now.
So, the thing for Life is Strange for me would just be, well, if you're forgetting the first time, replaying it again, it's just like the memory that you just lost.
Exactly. Yeah, that's also
true. So you're not actually gaining anything from it.
That's true. And Borderlands memory can get out of here. Like, for real. I don't want it. I don't want it anywhere near my brains. So next one for you. Let me quickly pull up my notes sheet. Alright, this one's really close to what we touched on in the first one. Would you never be rich and know that you'll never will be, versus never be able or allowed to consume carbohydrates from food? So you can't eat foods, like solid foods that have carbohydrates in them. Which means that, of course, you still need them to survive. Which means that you need to completely supplement your carbohydrate intake.
No, that seems like way... Does it just like automatically happen? Am I aware of that? Like, or do you have to actually actively go around now?
No, you need to like when someone is serving you in college, you're in a chow hall, which is typically, and they got potatoes, you can't have them. All you can have is like the piece of steak or the piece of meat, and you can have the salad, no potatoes, no pasta, no rice, no starches,
no salad dressing because oftentimes they contain sugar.
Yeah, no sugars, no breads, no candy, nothing with carbohydrates in them.
Candy ketchup. No, there's way more sugar than you think.
Yeah, sugar. Nothing.
I mean, it contains sugar at all, which is
you can eat as much as you want. You can like all the stuff that doesn't contain carbs, and you'll also be able to supplement carbohydrates. But like I don't know, you can have literally just like drink sugary water or whatever, like sugar solution. Some disgusting.
That
shit.
Seems like a huge inconvenience because almost every meal, definitely every meal you eat contains carbohydrates, but like almost every food that you consume contains carbohydrates. And sometimes in ways you wouldn't expect it, and oftentimes it's sugar.
Yep.
That was crazy when I had some troubles where I was supposed to like minimize sugar intake as much as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And like looking at like labels of stuff, like you would be surprised at what kind of stuff there's sugar.
Sugar's in everything.
So, God, I really want to have the money, but I guess I can't really give up.
Let me specify though, and this is also really an interesting look at how much you believe in your ability to be rich one day. You like all that happens is that like if you don't pick that, you're not guaranteed to be rich. It's not like trading carbohydrates for guaranteed to be rich. It's just like no carbohydrates for staying where you are right now in your mental state with the potential to have that you have now. The other one is just you never will be. You'll guarantee to never will be rich, and you'll know about it too.
Wait, so I'm choosing to either never be rich or to never eat carbohydrates?
The idea is that you are giving up...
That's one bad thing and one good thing.
No. The idea is to give up carbohydrates for nothing to change. But if you want to continue eating carbohydrates, then you will guarantee to never be rich. And you know that you will never be rich.
Okay, fair enough.
If you give up carbohydrates, then you stay in the exact same position where you are. Where you still need to put in the work to get rich by yourself, but you are still technically able to do so. Again,
giving up the carbohydrates is, first of all, a huge inconvenience, and second of all, might actually also be a money drain long term, because you have to get out of your way to get stuff that doesn't contain them, and then the supplements and stuff.
So you'd rather never get the success or the wealth or achievement or whatever.
Yeah.
And guaranteed. Okay, so this is like, for me, this is like, okay, cut the potatoes from your lunch versus having the worst mental torture done to you that I could ever imagine.
Well, for you, it's not just the potatoes, though. There is more than that.
Yeah, of course, but still. Like that's a no-brainer for me. There's anything you could write down on the other side of that thing, I'll take that. But that's exactly what happened in the debate, right? That's exactly what we were talking about, where we probably won't get to an agreement. Next question.
So there's two things that you do that most people consider bad habits, and you've defended both of those before. Now you got to give up one of them.
All right.
According to the hypothetical.
One of them is ball games again?
No.
All right.
I don't put repeats. No, one of them is vaping.
Okay.
And the other one's energy drinks.
Most people consider them bad habits, even though they're not bad habits. Is what
I told you most people consider them bad habits, and you defended them both before. Okay. Yeah. Now you gotta give one out. That's
because
what I said.
I was like, I've never defended an actually bad habit.
I never claimed that either anyone were weren't. I just presented.
I gotta give up one of them. Okay, so so that is a really good one actually. This is really, really good. I need to give one up. Let me think. The thing is that I'm trying to think like how can I circumvent one of them the best. The energy drinks I could probably just replace if I needed to, like with other caffeinated drinks like coffee or whatever. Even though I don't like the taste as much, and it's with the temperature of the thing. But I haven't been like vaping for years, and I'm not dependent on either one at all. From like a substance point of view, it's really just like which one do I rather do?
Yeah,
and I think I'll give up on the energy drink specifically because that way, I think it's easier to just replace. Because the whole idea is that you'll have caffeine ready for you when you need the energy, and you could get it in other ways. And I'm not opposed to opting for something that maybe tastes worse but does the same thing for you. So I'll do that.
So you're giving up something to replace with something that tastes worse to keep your nice tasting air. Yeah. You could supplement vaping with breathing. It doesn't taste as nice, but
I could.
It gets the same effect.
I could also do both. No, what I'm saying is the energy drinks are less of how do you say, just I'll do it for fun type of thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because I'll typically, the times when happen is the days I'm working out or the days I'm having to practice or whatever, where I need an energy boost for the somewhat immediate future few hours, right? So I could supplement that more easily with just picking up a coffee, which I wouldn't enjoy as much. It's hot, and that's a problem. I need to have it stand around for a while until it's cooled down. And that's alright. But I could still do it. Like, that wouldn't hinder me with that. So, right? And the vaping is more just a fun activity. So it's kind of like asking, would you rather give up specifically potatoes or YouTube? I don't even like potatoes that much. I can replace them with rice.
I can't believe you just compared doing YouTube to vaping.
I compared it to taters. I said potatoes versus YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. That means that the potatoes are the energy drink in that scenario, and vaping is the YouTube.
Representing the same point of the more fun activity that can less easily be replaced with something of the same kind. Is it not true? Of course, I'd rather keep YouTube than vaping. Of course, this is a potential future career, and I put so much time into this, obviously, right? But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So also, that wasn't a comparison. That was literally that's not, you can't.
You were drawing parallels.
Yeah, I was drawing parallels. I was putting up another comparison for the same argument, right? But anyway, yeah, I'll give up the energy drinks because it's easier to.
I also feel like vaping makes you less productive.
You think so? I don't think so.
This podcast, I believe, was the first time when we took notes for a halftime show, and I was done before you. You were constantly vaping while doing.
Yeah, but I just didn't come up with stuff. I'll do it the whole time when not the whole time, but sometimes when I'm working at home, I'll do it too. It doesn't make me less productive. I don't think so.
It just felt.
If it does, then I will notice over time.
Again, of course, this is a very specific case, but because I don't know, there's more. Yeah. I don't know if it actually does. It just one situation, it seemed like it
very much don't think it does, but if it does, then I will notice over time, and then I'll of course stop. But I really don't think so. Okay, would you rather? Final one for me.
This better be good.
Would you rather have racist symbols on every single one of your possessions versus not using any number with more than 4 digits. Meaning that if you wanted to write down like 1,000,000, you would need to write it down as like different numbers. You need to write down like 100 times 1,000 or whatever. Times 10. Or however you want to do it, right?
Man, it's going to take a while to read by possessions.
Yeah. Every possession. Every single one.
Well.
Every item of clothing. And you're not allowed to repurchase stuff that doesn't have it on it, right?
Oh, come on.
No. Every possession. Ever. If you have a possession, it better have a big ass swastika on it. Or something like that. Could be anything. Any racist symbol. Ooh. You got something good? You got something good. You got something? It looks like he has an idea. He looks like he has an idea.
Can I just invert my shirts?
Well, they still have racist symbols on the inside too. Well, you could invert your shirts and maybe that will work.
Because that is just a Buddhist symbol.
But you can't...
For like peace.
But you can't invert your shoes.
I can certainly try.
Or your glasses. Or everything. Your car. The painting on your car. Rocking up with the Hitler car in college. How's that gonna look?
I assume I cannot choose where said racist symbols are.
Well, they are going to be very offensive racist symbols that are rejected by over 99% of the population.
That did not answer my question. Can I choose where they are?
Yeah, in that case, yeah.
So then I could just put them in places where no one would see them.
Where they are?
Yes!
No. I thought what symbols they are.
I literally said where twice now.
Yeah, I understood what symbols they are. No. They are in sight. You're not getting around people seeing it. No. No. People are seeing it.
The numbers thing seems really problematic.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I will get through exams with that.
If you're gonna go 2,000, you need to write 1,000 times 2.
Wait, what? I thought it was 4 digits.
Oh, well, yeah, it was 4 digits, right. If you wanted to do like 10,000. that's the first number, yeah. In that case, you go 1,000 times 10.
How does 2,000 have more digits than 1,000?
Any 4-digit number in a row you can use. But no more than that. And then you need to start making equations.
That, you know how that just reminds me of? Those exam questions where it's like, recalculate this number in binary.
Mm-hmm.
And binary, for Christ's sake!
Yeah. Have fun.
Jesus Christ.
So, which one? Which one's it going to be?
Like, okay.
It's also been a long podcast already.
Yeah, I know.
And we're just at the halftime show.
So, the racist symbols one is, first of all, going to get you in legal trouble, probably, and second of all, definitely going to get you killed. The numbers thing seems like a huge inconvenience, but that's about it.
Alright.
So, I guess I would have to reconsider career choices, but besides that, that's totally doable. I guess.
Okay, so you're doing the number thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
can't do computer science anymore.
That's going
probably can't get through a single exam with that.
Yeah, that's really going to be tough. Same for me, though.
Wait. God damn it. There is a certain number in your life that you have to try to figure out a way to get around. You know how in college the number you?
Oh, right. Yeah. That's tough.
That's like a 7-digit number.
Yeah, that's tough. That is tough. Yeah. There's more of those, like social security numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's a lot of them. And
luckily, their birth isn't applied.
You're gonna have a whole bunch of trouble there. But okay. This one,
but that's still better than getting killed by a person of another ethnicity because they're angry at you for being the biggest racist in the world. This is
really tough choice. But I'd still be interesting to see you living your life either way with the consequences. Alright. Give me a fact of the week because we have crossed an hour.
Yeah.
And we're at the halfway point. So, what is your fact of the week?
So, this is something that a lot of people have probably seen before, but I think it's still interesting to bring up for those who haven't. And it's a very basic optical illusion, but when you draw like a 3-dimensional cube, and you draw all the lines, also the ones like behind that aren't normally visible, when you're looking at it, you're always gonna look at it one way, and then like your eyes refocus when you're just blinking or like when you're looking away from it, and all of a sudden the thing is just pointing in a different direction. Yeah. It's going into the paper instead of out of it.
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's because both angles at the same time. You can look at it like that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's just a very simple optical illusion. You can try that on your own. Mm-hmm. Just wanted to throw it out there. Again, most people probably know it, but I thought it was interesting.
Absolutely. And so, totally works. Here's another interesting fact. Ever heard of Shaquille O'Neal?
Yes, he's a basketball player.
Was. Great basketball player.
He also wrestled the big... No, wait. Did he wrestle the Big Show? It was cancelled, wasn't it?
What?
Did he ever wrestle the Big Show? I think it was cancelled, wasn't it? That match.
It was cancelled.
Yeah.
He was supposed to wrestle the Big Show.
He never wrestled the Big Show.
Yeah, it didn't happen at Mania 33, I believe.
Quite a shame, I guess.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, it would have been.
Would have probably been bad.
Yeah,
but let's be honest.
Also would have been interesting to see. So here's the thing: the dude is a legend in basketball, an absolute legend.
One of those things that probably most people knew, but my fact wasn't that secret either.
Shaquille O'Neal, and any basketball fan might be blown away by this. Over his entire NBA career,
he's really bad at throwing 3-pointers.
How do you know that?
Why would I not know that? Did he ever throw a single one?
He hit. That's the fact of the week. He hit 1 3-pointer in his entire NBA career. One of them. Dude scored over 10,000 points.
Yeah.
1 3. People like Steph Curry these days, they'll drop 8 of those in one game.
That's a different type of player, though.
Yeah, different type of player. Sure.
The tall guys, they'll be close to the thing and just putting it in.
Drop it in. Just dump it.
Compared to the shorter guys, they'll throw from further away. You know.
You don't know any of the terminology, but you're describing it correctly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1 3-pointer for Shaq in his life. I think it was like in 1996 or something when he did it. There's a video on YouTube. 1 3 from the field.
Yeah.
In his entire... I know. Crazy.
I mean, he couldn't have told you the exact number, but I knew they were really bad at it.
How do you know that, though?
I'm pretty sure that was mentioned like one of those like Shark Party or Pretty Good videos possibly. Or something like that.
John Boy's great guy. Go check his channel out. SB Nation, John Boy's great dude. Shark Party is fantastic. That's Facts of the Week. Second topic.
That might have been from the Shark Party where he raced the 3-pointer from the NBA history.
Yeah, maybe.
It might have been in there.
That's an interesting video. I recommend that, by the way. What if there was no 3-pointer in the NBA? Second topic.
Second topic, I guess we're going to talk about genetic engineering, aren't we?
Yeah, because you wanted to do that.
Yeah, I did suggest that.
We can try to keep it comparatively short, and if it's somewhat interesting, we'll pick it up in another podcast. But
like next week, we're just going to be doing the same 2 topics again with some new arguments.
Maybe. The arguments in the first one don't change anymore.
I don't think
there's no more detail to be gone into. It really isn't.
I think the general topic description could be approached from a different angle, maybe, but like the actual approach.
We could try.
Anyways, that was more of a joke. I don't think we need to do that. So genetic engineering, specifically, what I was thinking about was
humans.
Yeah, specifically fetuses. Like before they're born, like you're taking a gene test, which is possible without major inconvenience.
But that actually makes sense.
And then you can see, like, based on genes, like certain genetic dispositions that are carried down, and some of those are considered negative and can be corrected.
Right.
So now the question, of course, is first of all, what happens if you take it to an extreme? And second of all, what are the moral implications of it? And should you be for or against that?
Right. So this really completely depends on whether we are taking it to an extreme or not. I think in general, since I'm not a believer in creation and every person is exactly the way that God intends them to be, and that's the only right way for them to be, which some people go to an extent where they will refuse medical treatment and they'll resort to just prayer. There's religious groups who do that.
I know.
Which is, I mean, that's insanity, to be perfectly honest. But I'm not that type of person, so even in that case, if there's a kid who will be born with some type of disease, and you can revert that, and everything else held constant, that is a net positive. That is an increase in well-being, and that there is no moral argument to be made against that.
I would agree. So what that brings us to is two things. And number one is taking the moral argument to an extreme, and the other one is actually taking the biological argument to an extreme.
Okay.
With the moral argument, I had an interesting thought, right? And generally, most people would agree that, like, you can't say that one human being is worth more than another.
No.
But if you're saying that correcting a disability...
tough to
exactly,
say
right?
that, right?
Because if you're correcting a disability, and you're saying that is better than not doing so, you're effectively saying that a disabled person is worth less than a non-disabled person.
And and the thing with ableism is it's a really tough debate.
I know. And I literally, like, I was
laying
on my bed one evening, and it was just, thinking random thoughts, and then that just came to my head. I was like, the genetic engineering and the value of human life versus one another.
I didn't answer that correctly right there. If you had the choice between killing a fully sentient, healthy person and a very mentally impaired person with a significantly lower IQ and level of self-awareness and conception of the world around him, you would have to pick that retarded person.
Of course. Yeah. And of course it sounds very cruel saying that, but if you
it's the case.
Actually think it through on a moral level and on a logical level.
When that person possesses a lower level of sentience, the life of the individual with higher sentience is to be morally preferred.
Now, of course, that is specifically talking about mental disability.
Yeah.
Theoretically, based on the previous thing that genetic corrections are acceptable, you would also have to make the same argument for physical stuff.
Yeah.
At which point it gets morally even tougher to make that argument, of course.
Yes. Even though there isn't that much, I don't think there's that much physical stuff. Like, usually it's like chromosomal stuff, right? Like genetic stuff. Like Down syndrome, all that's all mental stuff. Like any genetic abnormality.
I know that
what are we talking about physical
definitely
stuff?
is genetic.
Okay, yeah. But that's genetic though, right?
Yeah.
Like any genetic thing, I think that's alright because there's a genetically caused disease.
Of course, correcting that is acceptable. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, right? At that point, is a small person, for lack of, I don't think there is any decent word for that, thereby morally less valuable than a normal full-grown person.
I wouldn't say so.
See, but if you extrapolate from one to the other, it would seem.
I'm not sure if that holds water. Because we are then talking about a live person, right, of the same level of sentience.
Yes.
So.
And again, I'm not saying that I.
No, I understand it fully. I don't think. I'm not sure if it does, but I don't believe from first instinct that holds water.
Again, I wouldn't argue that that person is necessarily worth less.
I have to study up.
But I would also argue that making the correction would be valid, which I feel clashes when you logically extrapolate.
Okay, so you're saying that by that meaning, saying that a person to be born without the condition as to be born with it is better.
Yes.
So is thereby the person later in life, if it doesn't have the condition, or he or she doesn't have the condition, better than the person who does? That is...
Logical extrapolation says yes.
I'm not sure.
Moral compass says no.
I'm not sure if it does. See, I'm not gonna judge if it does because I'm not knowledgeable about that. I need to study up on that, and I need to really break that down.
I was literally just laying on my bed one evening, and that thought somehow popped in my head, and I wrote it down. I said
that might be by some logical point might be a wrongful comparison or a wrongful extrapolation.
Maybe it is, and of course for logical consistency and moral code, I would hope so. But
that's why I'm not claiming that it is right now.
Can't see.
And if it's not, then we'd have to assume that position. But I don't know that yet.
For logical consistency, we would have to. But then again, how could we? Right from a generally understood moral system point of view.
Well, we could, of course, understand that a fully healthy person it's better to be fully healthy than a person who's not. That, of course, not justifying difference of treatment.
I think that's, at the end of the day, where you would have to make your point, where it's okay, maybe because that person is better, but that doesn't mean we should treat them better.
Yeah, because if we are defining or judging the way that people are supposed to be treated by level of sentience, and which should be the way to
so I guess we're
that, and they possess the same level of sentience, then that's not the argument.
I guess the thing that it boils down to, now that I think about it more, and intentionally didn't formulate it out perfectly because then we'd not be having a debate potentially. I guess what it boils down to is the word value being used in different contexts.
Mm-hmm.
So, on one point we were talking about like I want to say social value or maybe psychological value of a person, and the other one is more the physical, like biological physical value.
Yeah.
And so, a disabled person might have a lower biological value, but still the same social value.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Well, you could approach the argument from the side that's saying it might be immoral not to conduct that correction if it's possible to do, because conducting that correction would increase well-being, and thereby reduce suffering. So, neglect or ignoring to do the moral action is it's a bit of a trolley problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and that's hard to debate. You can debate however you want to do that. But in the trolley problem, the right answer would be to flip the switch.
Yeah, of course. The trolley problem seems like a very cut and dry situation.
Kill the one person instead of the many people.
Of course.
If you extrapolate that in this one, conduct the procedure.
Yeah. Of course, then, again, I think that by maybe considering value and treatment versus biological implications as different things, we might already be able to solve the conundrum there.
Yeah.
So maybe quickly go into the biological side of things.
I mean, we're not going to say if someone has a cold or some, I don't know, trivial disease, you go to a doctor and the doctor will prescribe you medicine to heal that. But that obviously doesn't mean that a person who is infected with a cold is now worse than a person who isn't.
Well, again, on the medical level, they are worse, but of course on the social or interpersonal level,
so clearly that should be rectifiable that way. That should be logically consistent.
So I guess what my initial problem, and again I had it late at night the thought. Yeah. So I guess the problem was just that different values were both being used as the word value, and thereby I set up, grabbed the pen, and I just wrote down, if disabilities are undesirable, does that make a disabled person less morally valuable? That's literally what I wrote down. So I guess we solved that one.
Well, yeah, by defining a moral value over level of sentience.
Yeah, by just making clearer definitions, basically.
Yeah.
And thereby making the extrapolation not necessarily invalid, but the implication that was drawn from the extrapolation thereby not. Okay.
The other one, the physical one, we can look into that. But I'm fairly sure at this point that this is what you presented does not moral, logically hold water.
Okay, fair enough.
But I can't point out exactly why. I can't lead through doing the entire logical path right now because I don't have the wording for that. But I feel like it should. I feel like it is that way. But because that's further research.
Again, gut feeling for me just said that logic holds up in the moment when I came up with that. And
my gut feeling says it doesn't. So
and I was like, but I don't agree with the logic holding up. Exactly. So yeah. The other implication of genetic engineering, of course, is the idea that once you're removing disabilities and diseases that way, what's the next step? There are other traits that might be considered undesirable.
Assuming that this is moral now, what we've talked about, this is a closed case.
Yeah,
okay.
I would say so. Now, of course, that means if it's okay to correct someone's dwarfism or mental disability, is it okay to say maybe this person is has a genetic disposition to be comparatively short, but it would be advantageous if they could, I don't know, reach higher shelves.
That's the idea of designer babies, right?
Yeah,
I want my kid to have blue eyes and blonde hair and be this tall and have this type of a nose.
Jews and black people.
Hate Jews and
homosexuals and sorry, you just said blonde hair and blue eyes, and instantly I'm like, the Aryan race.
I want them to have like a high IQ and all that stuff. Be like physically gifted. Sure,
because that's a whole different discussion.
That is really tough, and I've heard debates on that. I've dealt with that before, and that was actually a thing in high school as well.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly.
For us that was actually a really big debate. There was one student who held she was really into that, specifically that thing, and we had that as a debate for a while. She did like a 3-hour presentation on this, and really researched the hell out of this.
I would have loved to have been there, because we discussed it in class once for like half an hour.
The problem with that is that she drew back to religion a lot, because she was religious. So
I guess she was strongly against it because religion.
I'm not even sure if she was. I think she was one of those, those people who are who do all the sciences, who are scientifically pretty gifted and understand a bunch of stuff and are really smart, but then they also are religious.
God of the gaps.
Yeah, so exactly. So
it's always the stuff that science can explain, that was God. Once we can explain stuff like that, I guess that one was God, but he said it all in motion, somewhere back there is God.
Right. So that's So
at that point you're deluding yourself.
That's what my issue with that kind of was, but it was still very, very interesting. So that's another thing. That's a thing we need to look at. And maybe talk about in the future. The
problem with that, I feel, first of all, becomes that at that point you're saying that certain traits are more valuable than others, which once again, valuing life, but again, we said that the logical conclusion there didn't hold up for its ability, so it won't hold up for other traits either. If I say that certain traits are more morally valuable because you choose to implant those in your baby. Yeah. The other question is, how will that affect the gene pool long term?
Well, yeah, of course.
If we're getting into a society where all babies are designed and where ideals are very homogenized, that means that children will be more and more similar to each other.
That's true.
And that means that even if we stop doing designer babies, the gene pool will just be too limited and the human race will stagnate.
That really seems to be the question that it comes down to ultimately, to judge whether this is okay or not. Because from the interfering with nature or the creation or whatever, that's not an argument.
Well, interfering with nature, I would argue, to a degree is an argument.
In that sense,
yeah, of course. In the creation religion sense, no, but
the biological sense, could that come back to bite us?
Exactly.
In that sense, yeah.
Sometimes we're messing with nature, for example, or sometimes other.
But just the interference with nature itself isn't an argument against it.
But because we are very intelligent, we understand a lot of things, but there's always stuff we don't understand.
Yeah.
And sometimes that comes back to bite us. Like, oh, hey, look, we can throw those rocks into a thing and make them explode, and that produces energy.
Exactly.
Oh, shit, we got waste and it's radiating and it causes cancer.
Yeah. Too bad.
Right, like that type of thing.
Yeah, that thing.
And the mechanisms of evolution are very intricate, and already our lifestyles are kind of messing with it. The human race has been severely slowing down their own evolution voluntarily, which is the craziest thing.
That's true.
But this is nothing we couldn't come back from if we needed to.
Yeah.
But
which we apparently don't, because evolution has stopped or slowed down, meaning that we're good.
But of course, evolution and new traits that would in the future be considered desirable come from mutation.
Yeah.
And if you're genetically engineering babies, you're virtually taking the option of mutation out of the picture.
Yes.
Thereby basically completely stopping human evolution.
Yeah.
Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Why the evolution has already basically stopped is because through medicine and all there is really no natural selection going on in the case that someone will strictly flat out die before having the ability to procreate.
So the only selection that's happening at that point is people choosing partners.
Yeah.
But
that's always also been the case, but then it comes down to personal preference.
Well, yeah, but that is still somewhat informed by biological and evolutionarily based instincts.
Even though that's also becomes weaker and weaker because it no longer really matters. Right? I know that I understand that certain, for example, physical appearances are evolutionarily more practical.
Yes.
Because they lead to a higher rate of successful procreations or birth, whatever.
I want to be cruel here, but I think that applies to disabilities a lot.
Yeah.
Like, disabled people probably don't procreate as much as non-disabled people. Thereby, if the disability is genetically based, reducing the number of people with said disability in the population.
That's true.
Then, of course, gets more complicated when you look at how stuff is passed down But yeah, that is definitely
absolutely how that works.
A factor. Evolution has slowed down a lot, and you said it, like, it's kind of our fault. But we're still a very diverse race. Thereby, I think we could easily come back from that. Once everyone is basically the same, I feel like it's harder to come back from that.
Of course, right. If people were to artificially be made to be the same, that's more of a problem.
And I feel like, interestingly enough, let's harken back to the first topic.
Alright.
Just because we're genetically engineering people, we're not making them worse. As a matter of fact, we're intentionally making them as best as we can. Mm-hmm. But by doing so, we're preventing mutation, which reduces our potential.
For mutation.
Yeah, no, but mutation could potentially be advantageous and potentially disadvantageous. If it's disadvantageous, it's not going to spread as much as if it's advantageous. If it's advantageous,
let that last point again.
If it's disadvantageous, it will spread less than if it is advantageous.
Mutation,
yes. In sense of reproduction.
Yes, agree.
So, that means that mutation happening long term would affect positive change. Genetically speaking.
Yeah, that's how evolution works.
So by taking that factor out, you're reducing the entire species' potential.
So basically we're settling...
Evolutionary speaking, as a species, not as individuals.
So basically you're saying we are kind of settling for the best that there is right now.
Yeah.
And that's what we're sticking with.
And,
okay.
Again, we're just slowing evolution down by our lifestyle.
Yeah.
But if we're going into genetic engineering, we're virtually stopping it.
But then again, you can ask, like, okay, could it be better? Yeah, we could have wings. Is it okay to genetically engineer kids to, like, literally have wings for humans to be able to fly?
And that is where it gets completely crazy, because genetic engineering can give us traits that we currently do not have.
Correct.
Would it be advantageous to give children wings? No. Because we don't have hollow bones and we're way too heavy.
Yeah.
We could not fly with said wings.
Exactly.
It would be a 100% cosmetic thing, and they would constantly be getting in the fucking way.
Yeah, it'd be really bad. So yeah, no wings.
No wings, people.
No wings. Never wings.
Maybe like bat type wings for gliding. That
or maybe like chicken wings.
Oh.
For the eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Just have like a bunch.
Just eat humans that have been cross-enginered with chickens, so they are the size of humans, but they taste like chicken.
Wow,
that is just cruel.
That's practical. They also they can't have the sentience of humans though.
Otherwise, we're getting into a lot of moral trouble.
They shouldn't be sentient at all.
I guess at that point we could just take bigger pre-existing birds, and if they don't taste as well, chicken engineer those together.
That's exactly what we're doing though, breeding chickens to be bigger.
Yeah.
So that's all we do. Okay, you know what? Genetic engineering has been going on with animals forever.
Yeah, I mean,
we're selectively breeding them forever.
I would argue that genetic engineering isn't an inherently bad thing.
No.
But if you lose track of the potential consequences,
yeah, sure,
it could long-term bite us in the ass. Again, with us not understanding or considering the natural order of things.
It's a concept that needs to be approached very carefully.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I think that concludes the second topic. Been a long-ass podcast. Been an intense one.
I feel like the second topic, despite being shorter than I thought it was going to be, accomplished more than I thought it was.
Oh yeah, it was interesting. We can come back to that
because we basically had two separate discussions, almost. And I feel like we came to a point in both of those. In one is just basically
as far as we could with the
basically pointing out some logical flaws that I had, and the second one actually something that's going to affect our world in a major way soon enough, and to a degree already is.
Yeah.
And coming to a conclusion on that is not a bad thing, but it could be. It should be handled.
It's definitely something we could pick up on again in the future. So, thank you for watching. Though we have one more thing, we need to leave you on a high note and a bad musical pun with the song of the week. And I'm very not confident in the fact that my song of the week hasn't been chosen before, but we'll get to that.
We wanted to check that before, but we totally did.
When we get to that one. So just give me your song of the week, and then I'll give you mine and the story behind it.
Well, so my song of the week is actually by a group that doesn't maybe get the respect that they deserve. No, actually, I'm joking. They totally do, but maybe not from us.
All right.
Sometimes it's the Beatles.
Well, yeah, the Beatles.
And of course,
they do get some big time respect. They also get big time respect from us.
Yeah, but they sometimes I feel like they fly a bit under the radar because they're nowhere near our favorite band.
I wouldn't even say
they were in our top 10 sometimes.
I wouldn't even say under the radar. They're just right smack bang in the middle, where in like usual terms they'd be all the way up there.
Yeah, so we just don't discuss them as much as maybe they would deserve, and I thought I would bring up one of their songs. Right. And because of at this point I can't even say recent anymore, our top 10 lists, I picked Hey Jude.
That's your song of the week?
Yeah.
Has it never been picked before?
I don't think so.
It's a top 10 song of all time?
That was my number 10 song of all time.
Yeah, and it's never picked as a song of the week before?
I don't think so.
That's almost crazy.
I picked Blackbird ones, that much I know.
That's true, yeah. So, interestingly enough, my song of the week relates to a bit more recent of an experience because we were at a concert recently.
Oh yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about.
Do you? It is The Gambler by Kenny Rogers.
Yeah.
Was that the one you were expecting?
I thought I meant I know which concert you were talking about.
Oh, the concert?
Because there wasn't a lot of concerts.
No, there was not that huge amount of concerts. But yeah, The Gambler by Kenny Rogers.
Fair enough. I slammed the table.
What?
But I slammed the table when that came on.
Yeah, you slammed the goddamn table. We were playing cards on that table too.
Yeah, so a cover band was playing.
Yeah.
And we like when they're playing cover bands are playing around here, we like to play a game where whomever can guess the song first. Because it sounds a bit different than when the actual artist is singing it, and sometimes it takes a while. So they'll
get a point, and we'll take a list and all that.
Alex wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I was up by 4 songs. I was up like 4 to zip on him. He didn't get one of them. And all of a sudden, it's like The Gambler, and he just shouts it out. Like,
The Gambler!
He calls it out. People be looking at us from a 3-mile radius, right?
I'm pretty sure barely anyone heard that.
Goes completely nuts.
They would have had enough reason to, but like...
And then like, yeah,
I was both happy about getting the song first and about the song playing.
Yeah, the song playing was the best song that played that day.
That was the best song.
That was really good.
Played there, yeah.
I still beat JJ 6-4 in the end, so don't worry about that one.
I beat you at the card game.
Yeah, 51-49. There's some insane. That's true too. That's some insane people for you there.
That is me equally being up 2 points on you as you are up on me.
Yeah, even though the songs are a lot more valuable because there's asshole.
Yeah, I know.
There's some insane people there for you playing 100 games.
It's not like we had anything else to do.
That's true.
We did play like 10 games after the concert was over, but...
We spent over 10 hours straight. 4 hours, sorry.
I wasn't about to say that wasn't 10 hours.
Sorry, 4 hours straight on that. So
it started at, I think things started at 6 and we were done before 11.
We were done around 11, yeah. That is true. So there you go. We are insane people, but that's how we are. Don't forget to submit your song of the week.
Talking about playing 100 card games.
All right.
We didn't start tracking them from the game.
Yeah, we did start tracking.
We actually played probably like 110 to 120.
Yeah, probably because then all of a sudden, like we were trying to. I was trying to track songs. We weren't intending to track card games, right? Just tracking songs.
And we got 0 songs like the first third of the concert.
Yeah, they play songs, awful songs. I don't know any of those songs. They're just weird songs. Never heard of them before. So at some point, I'm like, people be looking at this list like over here, they'd be thinking we're bums. So I'm sort of like, this is. I actually drew like a grid, in which I was trying to keep points and like keep score for the songs we guessed. But it was empty like 2 hours in. So I'm like, you know what? I need to start filling this grid.
That wasn't 2 hours in.
An hour and a half, like an hour at least, hour and a half probably.
Because
hour to hour and a half.
They played for like 3 hours.
Let's say hour.
That was a third of the way into it was probably about an hour.
So I was like, I need to fill this up because people will think we bums. So I just started keeping score of the card games, and then later when we actually started getting the first song, I drew a new one and kept them both simultaneously. But yeah, that's the story of that. That's our lives right now. And we're going to do the same thing next week. And the week after that.
I'm not sure about the week after. No, that was the one. I think the week after that was the one where they had a bad artist. But
there you go. That's what we do. So don't forget to submit your songs of the week to the playlist.
There's a link to a playlist in the description. There might be an info card. I don't think there's an info card, but there's definitely a link in the description. It's intended exactly for that. So submit your song of the week to that playlist, and if it's a good song, we'll shout you out for it. And maybe make it a song of the week that we haven't used before, which you can find out by looking through all the podcasts. By watching 50...
Yeah. However. Yeah.
Podcasts.
A bunch of them.
I mean, you've clearly watched this one already, so...
Yeah. To the end, too, which is great. So thank you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel to not miss any more of the other stuff that we will be doing and releasing podcasts every Saturday, which is apparently the highlight of everybody's week. At least the same for me. So, JJ.
That's it?
That's it.